Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great day and hopefully get to go outside and enjoy some of this weather that I think is going to be 60. Welcome to Campus Conversations. I'm Allison Smalley. I work in the Advancement Office and Alumni Relations. A few housekeeping items before we get started, and I turn it over to Dean Moberg. If you feel like it, please go ahead and share in the chat your name, your year of graduation, or your relationship with CMU and where you're joining us from. Sometimes people are joining us from further away than we realized. Also, we would ask that everybody stay muted during the presentation. Please feel free though, it's meant to be a conversation. If you do want to jump in, go ahead and unmute yourself. You can use the chat or the raise your hand function. We just want to be mindful of any feedback issues that we might come across. Additionally, we are recording this virtual event. We will send the recording to everybody that registered. Sometimes people have things pop up the day and they aren't able to attend. We will also send you the slide deck and our presenter contact information along with a survey after the event is over. So without further ado, I will go ahead and turn the mic over to Dean Chris Moberg.
Thanks, Allison. Can I get a thumbs up? You can hear me okay? Thank you. So good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I think we have at least one West Coast visitor with us, so it's great to virtually see everyone. This is the second of a four-part series of campus conversations we'll be having as a College of Business during this academic year. During the first one a couple months ago, I provided kind of a broader overview of how the university and college are doing. And for the next three, we'd like to really highlight some of the special things we're doing in each of the next three meetings. So I thought I would just start with a very brief introduction to set up our two primary guests today. And I don't want to sound too much like an academic nerd, but as someone who's been in higher education for 30 years, I've had to do a lot of deep diving into research around student experience and, you know, what predicts how satisfied a student is when they graduate from a university or college and what leads to success and to them feeling that they were really prepared. And I can tell you two of the variables that rise to the top in most of the studies that I've seen related to college experience are, number one, did the students receive applied relevant learning opportunities? So young alumni and graduates always report that one of the things that leads to their satisfaction with their college experience and feeling prepared for whatever path they pursue after college is whether they had applied relevant hands-on learning opportunities that help them practice and develop skills that they would need in whichever area or career they decided to pursue. The other thing is basically relationship based. How did they feel during their four-year experience? And this, of course, this includes how well faculty cared for them, taught them, supported them, were willing to meet with them and help them as they were taking classes. But it's also the staff. It's also how people treated you when you had a financial aid problem or a scheduling problem. And so that's all of us that work at the university, both in the college and other places. But did people build relationships with you? Did they help you plan? And, you know, during your four-year experience, how well did we take care of you as a client? So one of the things I think is special about CMU that's always been true is that I think one of the core strengths of this university across every college is the experiential learning. That every college, we may do it in different ways, but we believed in applied experiential learning. And I also believe that one of the things that makes this place special are the people that work here and have worked here for a long time and believe in this university and community. So when I arrived 5 years ago as a dean, I worked with our college to get even better, that we couldn't rest on our laurels and we should develop strategic initiatives that strengthened these two strengths that matter so much. It's the right thing to do for students that come to school here, to treat them well, support them, and make sure they are practicing and having experiences inside and outside the classroom that prepare them for life after college. So there were two big things that we launched last year. One was a brand new core curriculum, And one of the key things that was in that core curriculum were 3 new 1-hour professional development classes. So now every single one of our students is required from freshman through junior year to take these classes that help them explore the university, explore majors, get involved, and also develop a required experiential learning plan. Every university does a great job working with students regularly on their academic schedule and what classes they need to take to graduate on time for their different majors and minors. A few of them actually formalize the other part of the 4-year experience, which is what are you going to do outside of the classroom? How are you going to develop as a leader and a professional? And so we are enforcing that and supporting our students through classes. The other big thing is the subject for today's conversation, and that is we opened an office of student engagement and professional development last summer. And we're super excited about this as a college and think it can be a model for the whole university. It's basically a companion office and resource center for our academic advising office. And as you'll hear in a minute from our 2 leaders, it supports student, faculty, alumni, and others in many, many different ways. But the goal of this formal office was to provide support for students beyond their academic development and the selection of majors. How can we support them, encourage them, and develop them, and from a professional perspective, a career perspective, and an experiential learning perspective? So we're super excited about what we think is a pretty innovative office and investment that we've made in our students. So that's what today's focus is, and it's my pleasure to turn it over to our 2 leaders who have been working tirelessly and passionately for the past 18 months in developing and launching our office here in Grand Hall. And I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, but in a little bit more detail. But our director is Amy McGinnis, who is also a faculty member in our management department, and Lori Driessnack, who's the associate director and does a million important things for our college, but really enjoys working with our business residential college students in supporting their success. So I'll let Amy and Lori take over, and we're really excited to share our story about what we've been doing as a college the past 18 months. Amy, Lori, take it away.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Amy McGinnis, and I'm the Director of Student Experience here in the Student Engagement and Professional Development Hub. And my partner in the office is?
I'm Lori Driessnack. I am the Associate Director of the Student Engagement Hub and also the Director of the Business Residential College.
Just briefly, before we get into our presentation, a little bit of my background and experience. I've been at Central Michigan University for 25 years. For the first 12, I was in HR and training and development. And then I moved over to the faculty side once I was close to finishing my doctoral degree. Taught in the College of Business in the management department and the HR undergraduate program for about 12 years. And last year had an opportunity to come over to this brand new office and help grow it from the ground up in terms of the student experience. So really excited to be part of this.
And I have been with Central Michigan University since 2013, served for about 7 or 8 years as an academic success coach in the South Area Residential Hall, kind of helping those students transition to their first year of college, and then moved over to the College of Business Administration as an academic advisor for a couple of years before joining the Student Engagement Professional Development Hub just in the last year and a half. So really proud to be on the ground floor of developing and creating this office, and I'm proud to have that opportunity.
Thanks for running our slides, Allison.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So we'll go ahead and get started with just a brief overview of what the Hub is all about. Student Engagement and Professional Development is the formal title, but students know it as the Hub. So one of the first things that we did when we founded the office back in June of 2022 was to work with our marketing team to develop, it's a spirit mark, a logo of sorts. But you can see that on the screen there, and the connectors sort of represent the fact that the Student Engagement and Professional Development Hub really serves as a resource center. So we want to make sure that students are connected to each other, to employers, to opportunities as it relates to their professional experiences. resources, programs, other kinds of supports. So that is really the goal of the hub, is to serve as that resource center. We wanted it to be a hub of activity, and it certainly is.
Absolutely.
3 people have knocked on my door since we started. So
Next.
yeah, thank you. So really, this picture gives you an idea of what our office looks like. We are currently sitting in my office, which is behind the student station in that picture. We want students to be able to say yes to events. We want them to say yes to experiences, real world kinds of activities, transformational experiences. We know from our data on the Business Residential College and other programs at the university that those kinds of really engaged opportunities help students to grow and develop. So our goal would be that every College of Business student has an opportunity, has access to some kind of transformational experience outside of class, whether that's an internship, a workshop, a professional development program, an opportunity to serve, to work together in a philanthropic effort. All of those kinds of things are meaningful and help students in their engagement and their development and their employability post-graduation. So in essence, we do leadership, we do mentorship, we do development, and we do coaching in the hub.
And you can see here, these are the 17 majors that we have here in the College of Business Administration. And really the hub's role around each of these is just to offer opportunities for students to explore these majors. That's what their primary job is when they come here as freshmen. 16 of these majors are tied to our Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, that degree. And that's something that they're going to work on for the first at least 3 or 4 semesters that they're here. 16 of these majors start with the first class Business 100, and that gives students a really great opportunity to explore lots of careers and in business, and then see where those connections are with these majors. So in the hub, our job is just to continue to provide opportunities for students to find engagement, to explore each of these careers and programs and majors. We do have an updated curriculum that Dean Moberg talked about. So there are 1-credit classes that are offered for students freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Those 1-credit classes are around leadership, or I'm sorry, first one is team building. So teamwork and team building is the first 1-credit class. Then sophomore year, we talk about leadership and specifically leadership in times of change. And then the third 1-credit class is junior year, and that's all about career management and taking control of your career. And so we support students in those 1-credit classes throughout the first 3 years of their time here. Next slide is going to be one of our proudest achievement is this group of 12 CBA student ambassadors, and we invest in these students. We interview and hire the best and the brightest here in the College of Business Administration and provide a pretty thorough training program for them. And you can see these bright shining faces here. That represent really all areas of Michigan. And I think, do we have any that are outside of Michigan? No, right now they're all in Michigan, but we're really proud of them. They're all represent sophomore, junior, and senior excellence in our students. So next slide. And our payoff is great in our investment with these students because they really do support us in CBA in a multitude of different ways. These ambassadors serve as the front lines of the hub office. They man our student staff here in the front of the hub. And in that capacity, they serve as peer mentors. So any student that walks into the hub office is going to be met with a student ambassador who's willing to share their learning curve, right? They're willing to mentor we've got people that come in looking for resume support, or I've got an interview later on this week. Who can I process through that with? And Amy and I aren't always able to drop what we're doing and meet them where they are. Sometimes we do, but we all have this great group of talent that is sitting behind that desk that lets these students pull up a chair and we'll go over resume support or interview support, or even just help them to get connected connected with all of the different programs and events that are happening in CBA. These ambassadors also help us with recruitment events. They do daily tours of the Grand building. They help with larger scale recruitment events and also help with programs that are happening in CBA. So we really get to utilize them to quite a great extent.
So this academic year, some of these student organizations might look familiar to you. This academic year, we have approximately 20 registered student organizations in the College of Business. And one of our roles in the hub is to help support those students in those registered student organizations as leaders. So we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing to help support them. But we're pretty proud because it's a wide variety of student organizations for all of the majors that are included in the College of Business. And it's an opportunity for students to really showcase their leadership skills.
And I think the best thing that we could say about those 20 RSOs is that they really provide an opportunity for freshmen and sophomore students to explore majors before they even take that first class in that major area of study. So the best thing that we can do as a hub office is to support the leadership of those 20 organizations. So we've developed monthly president roundtable meetings where we pull all the presidents together, gives them a great opportunity to share out what they're doing, to collaborate, to kind of get interest in each of their events, and also to share their challenges with us. So out of some of those monthly president roundtable meetings, we discovered they needed a little help with membership and with promoting their events. So we came up with those, I think you can see on the screen, those tabletop calendars that we have now throughout Grand Hall. So that's a new addition to the Grand Atrium, are these calendar of events, which really promote all of the great opportunities that each of the registered student organizations are offering up. We supported our presidents by creating, you can see there, a business card for them, just to kind of honor their leadership and the fact they stepped up to be leaders. And we had these business cards created for them just in time for them to take to the Alpha Kappa Psi All Major Career Fair here in October. So we were really pleased with that. We also do some goal setting with them, one-on-one coaching with these presidents, so we can really help them through elections and through just all of the different challenges that come with being a leader in a registered student organization. A big way, the next slide is going to show you a big way that we're able to support all of our registered student organizations is through helping them with these big membership drives. So we do them twice a year. Right after Labor Day, we host a large tent. You can see that is our involvement fair. And this is just a showcase of all of the registered student organizations, and the students lead those, and they introduce themselves and they give their best elevator pitches to our incoming students. And this is a great way to drive membership. We do it again in January. It's kind of a reset. Let's get motivated to join RSOs in January when they come back from their break. And we do something a little different here. We connect them with a Meet the Major experience, as well as we have department faculty representatives in tabling opportunities right next to the registered student organizations that kind of coordinate with those departments and those majors.
Here are just a few examples of some of the programming opportunities that we've hosted for students in the College of Business. So on the far right, top right, you'll see Community and Career Day, volunteering with Dow. And this was an opportunity in mid-September to collaborate with executives from Dow and to get some of our student organizations, our first generation cohort, our Business Residential College cohort, and any students from the CBA who were interested in volunteering. I think we had probably close to 75 or so students volunteer that day. And they were paired one-on-one or sometimes two-on-one with a Dow employee in a specific functional area. And together they spent the day cleaning up the local park system. So it was a volunteering event, but it was also about community and careers. We have heard from at least 3 students who volunteered for that day that they now have 2024 summertime internships with Dow in treasury and finance and in accounting. So we're pretty thrilled with that opportunity to not only do something good for the community and enhance Dow's sustainability goals, but also to be able to partner with them for some experiences for our students as well. We also, in partnership with Joe and Cindy and Dean Moberg and our friends in Alumni and Advancement, we hosted a panel discussion, Bold, Authentic, Unfiltered, Women and Allies Leadership panel discussion. So that was a great conversation. We had more than 150 students participate and ask questions throughout that event. We had a really deep and engaging discussion about women and women in leadership. Annually, we hold an ethics summit in the spring in February. It will also be February 16th of 2024. So we're working on keynotes and breakouts for that, but that's usually a full day event and an opportunity for students to take a deep dive into their own personal ethics. And then we've also been supporting our Career Development Center by having them come over. They're great campus partners. They've been coming over every other Wednesday here in the Grand Atrium to work individually with students, whether it's by appointment or whether it's by just dropping in at the table that they're at in the atrium to get some career development advice. So that's been nice to have Jamie Brown from the Career Development Center over here in the atrium for our College of Business students as well. Okay, so this is obviously a picture of Amy and Lori. This is our new wallpaper in the hub, and it looks really nice and is eye-catching and kind of serves as a bookend to the Business Student Services office that is right next door. We are not a career development center in the hub per se, but that is one aspect of what we are able to do. Only when the Career Development Center is not available or Jamie Brown isn't here or students need sort of like a just-in-time kind of appointment coaching development opportunity. So we are available to help students with internship support, to help promote the Career Development Center programming that's available, to review resumes, and really just to have major exploration conversations and one-on-one coaching. It's really nice to work in partnership with the Career Development Center, and we're always around to help support our students who may have questions about particular majors within the College of Business.
Okay, this is where I jump in because this is my passion. So the Business Residential College is that group of incoming freshman students that know they want to study business, and that's the most important thing. So they want to live on the floor and fast track their professional development and their professionalism and their major exploration with business. So these students get to live on the second floor of Beto, and they get to take classes together. They get to have special programs together. We just did a faculty dinner, and we did an alumni mixer before that. And we've kept them really busy with service hours and study table hours. And it really is just that great opportunity for them to focus on their professionalism. Our freshmen were ready for that first career fair in October, and many of them are already interviewing for internships for the summer. So our Business Residential College students do multiple internships, and these end up being our future leaders. Sometimes our RSO leaders and leaders in other capacities. So we're really grateful that, that this program exists for them. And I'm recruiting now for next year already. We also are really focused on meeting all of our CBA students where they're at. And that means a holistic approach to them. Sometimes it's just, let's talk about time management. Let's talk about how we're eating and sleeping. And those are the conversations we're having in the hub as well, because those impact their academic readiness and their academic success. So we have partnered with our faculty to offer snacks for finals week, because we know a lot of students walk across campus and come to take those finals and they haven't fed themselves. So our faculty are happy to man the table and offer those snacks. We also do 1-minute coaching the week before finals to talk about what is your greatest obstacle and challenge leading up to finals week. And we kind of process through best next steps and what's your next action step for that. So just kind of these smaller programs that have big impact. We also bring in the therapy dogs to come in and have ice cream and just a little bit of a relaxation time before finals week.
Lastly, a new program that we just developed this year as the hub got underway is a program called our Queller Leadership Scholars. It's a first generation leadership cohort in the College of Business. So in the spring of last year, we put out applications. We asked students to apply. We interviewed, selected 13 students to be in this inaugural cohort. The program does come with $1,000 scholarship for each student. They have to be a College of Business major, and they also have to be a first generation college student. So that means that for them, their parents' educational experience did not go beyond high school. This is the first semester of the program, and we've been meeting weekly. So we have weekly workshops where we talk a little bit about what's happening and opportunities for engagement. We did a retreat at Dave and Penny Queller's home before the semester got underway. They've gone through some assessment center activities so they know where they need to develop as leaders. And we're working through the Franklin Covey Leader U platform for 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. They had dinner with the dean. They got to meet the president one evening. So we have had a whole variety of activities for them. And we just recently celebrated National First Generation College Student Day on November 8th. So the students were engaged in the development of the programming for that event, for that celebration that day. And we're really proud to be able to highlight and celebrate first generation college students in the CBA. I think the next slide will include all of those 13, oh, perhaps not. We have a slide of the 13 students who are in the program.
But let's go back to that, because we do not want to gloss over this. We're super happy to always brag a little bit about the positive outcomes of the College of Business Administration. We've actually had to update this slide with slightly elevated numbers. So of course we want to shout those out. Within 6 months, our graduating College of Business Administration students are reporting 95% of them have employment in the area that they were studying, or they're involved in graduate school or involved in some area of service, for example, the military or the Peace Corps. So 95% of them are engaged in either of those 3 areas. Median salary just bumped up a little bit to $58,000. So that's a great starting salary for our graduates. And then we like to share that we've got 75% of our students that complete internships. And they're not even mandatory for a lot of the programs. The students are doing these because they see the value in it and they see the importance of it. And many of them have 2 internships, and some of them even 3, don't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 internships. So that's a lot that they can articulate, a lot of things that they can talk about in those interviews after graduation for those jobs. Super proud of that.
We thank you for being a part of this campus conversation, and we are happy to answer any of your questions. I know Allison will get these slides out to you, and it has all of our contact information as well. So what else can we tell you about the College of Business and the Hub?
Well, can I speak? Okay. Yeah.
Go, Mark.
I'm out here in California, so it's only 9:30 here. So, yeah, it's a lot more than when I was in college there. I was there in the Dr. Plachta era. I knew Leonard personally and that whole crew. So, but I really have an affinity for Central, even so many years later. I was an RA in Cary Hall, which I think is great experience to develop leadership skills. So, but I'm seeing you guys are moving along in a lot of venues, and it's good. It's good. And I've got a bachelor's in accounting, and I've got an MBA. And I worked at Dow for a number of years over there in Midland. In fact, actually, I was recruited on campus by Dow. Now that I think about it, and I worked in the controller's office there in the old 2020 building, if you guys remember the old Dow. The old Dow Center. But anyway, very good. I'm glad I listened in on this today, and good luck with that. I had some some Zoom a couple years ago with Chris Moberg, I remember, and I'm trying to remember the lady that was one of your development people. She just
Melody.
left. Melody. Yes. Yeah. And,
I was going to say hi to you. I mentioned before, I think we have some West Coast people. We did meet during the pandemic when we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of our accounting program virtually through a series of happy hours. So now when we were doing those, it was 1 o'clock where you were, but it was great to meet you a few years ago. And I'm glad you joined us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I still take in contact with Tom Wyrick. Tom is
he's still here.
He's still there. I emailed him a while back on something, and he got some award for
Yeah.
some accounting award. So
He got a really
congratulate him.
prestigious award. The American Accounting Association gives out an Educator of the Year to one person every year, and he received it this summer at the AAA conference. So you'll be receiving via email a college update in the next couple of weeks, and there's the whole page devoted to Tom's award. So can't wait for you to see that.
Yeah, he was I think he was my auditing instructor at the time. But anyway, nice job, folks. I'm glad I listened in on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. When I first started at CMU 25 years ago, Dr. Plakta was President Plakta, and he actually gave me the opportunity 23 years ago. When I started in HR 25 years ago, I was doing more of the employment, recruitment, starting salaries, the typical HR work. And Dr. Plakta, then President Plakta, set aside some funding for a training and development function within the HR department. So that was a brand new department 23 years ago, and I was a part of building it from the ground up because of his dedication to, making the university better in terms of staff. So it was a great opportunity to work with him.
He was very, very. I had him before he was president. He was the accounting instructor, but I developed a relationship with him. What I like, and I don't take a lot of time, but Central, when I was there in the late, well, I got my bachelor's in '73. And then Dow paid for my graduate work at the time. And so I got that in '79. But you got to know the instructors on a personal basis, all of them. Like, why Rick? How many years has that been? And, and the people in the placement office, Mike Carey, and you don't remember all these people. George Jennings was the housing guy. And you got to know them like just your friends. And I thought that was just great. To this day, I still have memories and being the RA in the dorm and doing all of that and working in the food in the kitchen. So it was a lot of fun. And you develop those leadership skills. You got your accounting, your technical skills, but you've got to get a lot of those other kind of skills because you could be technically competent and not be able to interact. Accountants and engineers, we have that issue where you can't explain. It's like a doctor trying to explain something to people, and that's a sixth sense. But anyway, very nice talking to you folks.
Thanks, Mark. And I started my comments by saying I still think the people we hire here to be faculty and staff are one of our core competencies because they still treat our students really well. And I've been here 5 years, and I think that what you just described is still one of the strengths of this place. Any other questions or comments from our friends and alumni?
I was going to say, with Amy and Lori, I know you mentioned you got knocks on the door during this conversation. Like in a giving day, it's probably hard to say, but I mean, how's the foot traffic of like when students just popping in? How's that like?
Yeah, it's a great question, Joe. Thanks for asking. We, when we first started a year and a half ago, we had cubicles. And you can see behind us, these are actually hard walls with doors now. So we very quickly discovered that the foot traffic would be heavy because students, like Mark described, they want to connect and they want to meet and they want to talk and they might need some coaching or they might need to have some hard conversations and we want to get to know them personally. And so we were probably 9 months in and we figured out that we needed some actual walls and some space. And I can't tell you how many students come through on a daily basis, but I don't know. Dozens.
Absolutely. For quick check-ins and do you have time to sit down for, this is happening and I need to make this really hard decision. It's really an honor to be able to be at the front lines and really in the center of the ground building, just very accessible, and the door's always open in the front, and it's been great.
You get a lot of freshmen, I suppose, more freshmen than sophomores and juniors. I mean, as a freshman, I went up to Northern Michigan my freshman year because I'm from Upper Peninsula there, but I had to get out of that snow and I didn't go too far. But anyway, the freshman year is, to me, I remember what's a curriculum and what's a bulletin and I had no idea how it worked. And by your sophomore year, you're kind of into it. So I bet you get freshmen and then sophomore and juniors. Yeah.
We sure do. What's been great is that we really, the hub touches every level. So freshmen, you get a lot of the BRC students and then their friends that find out that we're here for them as well. And then sophomores we start to have them as ambassadors and start to train them and see that they've got some leadership qualities. So we're working on those. And then the juniors and seniors are here too, because they're the ones that want to talk about, can we process through this interview? Can we, how do I make this decision? So we really have programs and offerings for every single age group in the college experience.
I really wanted to join. I have a niece that's there, and she was talking about the hub, and I'm like, what is that? Because they didn't have it when I was there. So she speaks very highly of it. But my question for you is, as alumni, like, what can we do to help? What do you need from us that would help enhance what you're doing? Because I think it's exciting, and I'm sorry that I'm late, but I just came off of another meeting. So I just wanted to check in and see if you've already answered that question. I apologize, but
Yeah, no, we haven't. Thank you, Rebecca. Good to see you as well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Thanks for tuning in. What alumni can do is help us in terms of mentoring, being a part of the career development conversation with our students. So specifically, I work with the first generation college student cohort that we talked about. And they are always looking for opportunities to learn from professionals. So as alums, being a part of that process, volunteering to be a part of that process, and maybe taking a student under your wing, whether it's for, professional mentoring, coaching, that kind of thing, and job shadowing, getting some experience, that would be a great opportunity to be a part of that.
And then my next part of that question, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, whenever you're in town or on campus, please stop by as well and connect. And absolutely, if you're here for homecoming, we have got a great pre-parade watch party and a reception. And those are great connections. We always have lots of students here. So we want you to be in the building. Yeah.
Awesome. And then my second part of this question was, is there a designation, like if we wanted to give and make sure the money goes back to the hub, to help students in the future? Is there a designation for that?
Good question, Joe or Dean Moberg, do you know?
Yeah, Chris, did you want to take it?
Well, I know we created an account for the Student Development Office, the hub. I don't know if it made it to the giving page yet. Do you know that, Joe or Becky? Or Allison?
Yeah, with an account set up, yeah, we can definitely, I'll verify that with it. But yeah, definitely recently set up thank you for asking, Rebecca. We can highlight more of the donation for it. But yeah, if you specifically wanted to allocate or any funds to the hub, that's definitely a possibility. We can make that happen.
Yeah, well, just Giving Tuesday is right around the corner. So I'm like, oh, let's find out if we can do that.
Yep,
okay, thank you.
That was our goal. So, and I also wanted to add, Rebecca, it's good to see you and thanks for the question. And go back to Mark's comment real fast about students needing to figure it out. I think we see all the students, right? Because they come in for advice when they're seniors trying to balance 2 job offers, right? Or I wasn't thinking about moving out of state, but now I have this other chance, and they just have normal nerves, no matter how successful they've been, about moving to Seattle for a job or somewhere else. So, but I think if I was going to summarize our strategy is, you're right, freshmen come in and most of them don't really know for sure what major they want. They might have an idea. They're just trying to survive their first semester. So one of the things we try to do is balance that. We're not trying to make them make every decision their first semester, but we're also going to make them the very first semester explore, think, reflect, take strengths finders. We just want to make sure that no student's left behind and wakes up in junior year and is like, oh, now I got to figure this out, or wakes up after they graduate and says, I wish I'd done a study abroad. So it's more about just partnering with them to explore majors and to think about what do they want to do during their 4 years besides finish with their academic degrees, right? Do they want to lead in organizations? Do they want to do service? And so that's what's really fun about it, is we're intentionally trying to partner with them so that every one of the students that comes into our building especially during the first 2 years, is going to have these classes and meet our team, our special team of people. So it's really fun.
We just shared the link in the chat. for our giving page. And if you just search the hub in the search bar, it will come up for you. And I will also send that link in the follow-up email.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Rebecca, and happy Thanksgiving week to everyone. Anything else from any comments or?
One question for us people out here in California,
Sure.
The alumni, there's not much activity out here. I think San Francisco or something, I can't look around, and we're here, so I can't expect to have a whole lot going on, but yeah, it's a little, is there alumni activities out in California much? You may not know in this group, but
there are not a ton. Sometimes
Okay.
we will have alumni in different areas, host watch parties or something of that nature when we have CMU events, sporting, that type of thing. But other than that, unfortunately, not too much.
No, that's okay. But I appreciate this. Okay, thank you.
I was glad to see that the median income is $58,000 starting out after
Yes.
graduation. So on a lighter note, the big talk when I graduated in 71, if you can make $10,000 the first year you worked, you were in. You made money. So I went to work for my dad, and I think I made $9,700. I said I was so close to making $10,000. So close, but I didn't quite make it. Anyway, this is on a lighter side.
Well, same thing, Dow Chemical, 1974, royalty accounting in the controller's office. I said, if I can get $1,000 a month, that's going to be a big deal. Well, I got 900 and some a month. And now living in California with real estate, anyway, it's a whole new ball game, so to speak. Yeah, I couldn't get 12 grand a year back then, but that's the way it was. Of course, rent was 125 a month in the apartments.
Wonder what they'll be saying in 30 years about starting salaries. 58,000 will seem like 10,000, I bet. Any other quick comments or questions? Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. I've had a chance to meet most of you, and be on the lookout if you haven't already seen it through one of our social media platforms. But our annual college update, which has lots of stories about our successes, and we're celebrating our faculty, staff, and students, launched last week, and will be sent electronically at first to all of the College of Business alumni in our database. So we look forward to you being able to see that. And, the other thing is when Allison follows up, perhaps we'll go ahead and throw the link into this email. So not only will you have the slides, it'll be a faster click on the link to see the update. There's a 3-page story about the hub and some of the other fun things that we're doing in the college that we celebrate our faculty and staff, but I would argue 95% of our update is about our students and their successes. So it's really fun.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. We appreciated the opportunity to share a little bit about what's happening in the College of Business and with the hub.
Thanks, team, for taking your lunchtime to meet everybody. Have a great rest of the week and more soon. Fire up.
Fire up.
Mm.